certainty of death, small chance of success. What are we waiting for?
Fellas, I feel this is my lucky day.
Brilliant.
Hey, and welcome to another episode of Rankin. This will be a fun one today because we're talking about Steven Spielberg. And before people in the comments go, "Oh, you already done this?" Yeah, I know. It's been about like 4 years since we last did it. It's like it was like episode 198 when we last did it. So like 200 episodes later, it's like, yeah, no, it's a different panel. Let's see how things change. But we've also got Matt Kearns here. Matt, how's it going?
I'm doing very well. If you follow Take 3 or my own YouTube channel or whatever, you'll know that Steven Spielberg is my favorite director. I love this man. I love his work. As we've been talking about since Malcolm made the chat, like even like mid-level Spielberg is better than some people's like best movies. So this should be fun. Yeah, talking about different panel. I do remember the last time I wasn't supposed to be on the panel, and then like 2 minutes before the stream started, Malcolm like messaged me, was like, somebody dropped, can you hop on? And I was like, all right. So you can watch the original and watch me hastily try and make a short list of my favorite directors' films as the stream is happening. This time I'm prepared though.
We've also got here Austin. How's it going?
No, thanks for having me on. Yeah, a guy who's made several of my favorite movies of all time, so should be an interesting one. I think there's some obvious ones that'll make the list, and then there might be some debatable ones here and there, maybe some like personal favorite type things, you know. So we'll see how it goes.
Yep. And last but not least, we got Ross. Ross, how's it going?
Good. I think it was either last year or the year before. Actually, I went through all of Steven Spielberg's filmography. So yeah, I'm like, this list is not easy, and I'm excited, because he's my number one favorite director. Also, yeah.
Yeah, and like this is one of those tops where like I finally managed to finish off the Steven Spielberg. I only had like 5 movies I hadn't seen of his, and I finished off this week for this. But it's going to be a lot of fun. And yeah, and because this is a Redux, I'm going to bring up the list from the last topic. 5 will come up. So last time we did this, the number 1 movie was Raiders of the Lost Ark. Then we had Jaws. Then we had Jurassic Park, Schindler's List, Last Crusade, Close Encounters of the First Kind, Saving Private Ryan, Minority Report, E.T., Munich, Tintin, and West Side Story. All made the top 12 that year. But how this has changed, we don't know. But Matt, was the first movie you're going to bring up?
All right, I'm going to bring it up now because I reference it often, even though it was like 20 years ago, but I'm not going to have a number my Redux situation. I'm bringing up Raiders of the Lost Ark. The one that we just talked about one last time. Raiders of the Lost Ark, it's just incredible. It is a movie that I think, when you just think of like great adventure films, you think of Raiders of the Lost Ark. Like it's fun, the action is great, the acting is great. Harrison Ford doing one of his best performances, and it's also just like for an adventure movie, like it's fun how, you start with the Golden Idol, and that helps to introduce the villain. And then you get the FBI guys kind of talking about Abner Ravenwood. That leads you to Nepal to get, the idol. And then it just, or the headpiece of the staff Raw, and it just kind of grows, and you get to meet fun characters like Sala and Marion. Belloc's a great villain. Tote is a great Nazi, and it's an all-around fun movie. I think for Spielberg, it's a movie that I think shows a lot of his strengths as a director. Like the cinematography is like beautiful. There's that shot when they're digging out the edges of the wall's souls, and Didi sort of takes off his robes and putting on the hat with the sunset going down. Yeah, so Raiders is number 1.
Austin,
I don't know who you are,
Raiders?
but I appreciate whoever
That's
you are.
JPO.
Yeah. JPO, I appreciate you.
I know. Yeah. JPO being a smart ass. But I love it. But that's why I love him. So yeah, no, I think Raiders is one of those kind of like 5 or 6, I think, sort of gimmies that you're like, yeah, you're gonna have on any Spielberg kind of top ranking. Where it fits on the actual kind of top 5 or 6, is debatable. We'll see where it ends up, but yeah, I think it's one of the obvious ones we kind of have to get out of there. And yeah, I mean, what's to be said about Raiders? That has been said a million times. It's great action, great adventure, like the religious themes of it, great characterizations all around. So, 100% it's on my list. Yes to Raiders.
And Ross, what do you say about Raiders of the Lost Ark?
Yes, of course, Raiders. My second favorite Indiana Jones movie, but I still love it. Like it's perfect. Like seeing it in IMAX, like when he walks into the Ravenwood Bar in the shadow, is incredible in IMAX. Yeah. So yes, definitely yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what is an easy one for me too, because it's also my second favorite of the Indiana Jones movies, but I think it's fantastic, and yeah, it's an easy yes for me, so it's going to make the list.
This should be interesting because I'm the only one who has Raiders into number 1 here.
But Austin, I'm going to go to you next. What is your next nomination?
I've got 2 personal favorites I may try to shoot a shot for, and we'll see what happens. But I think Ross is a big fan of this, so I think I might get a yes for him at least. I'm going to go with the movie I rewatched today, Duel. I'm going to go Duel freaking rips. I think Duel is awesome. I think this really showed his skill early on. I mean, he made this movie, he was like 23 years old or something like that, which is insane to think about the level of technical prowess that's on hand here. I think the back and forth chase sequences are riveting. They're edgy seat stuff. The way he keeps you engaged with what is a fairly simple premise, of this guy who's just getting terrorized by this giant truck, and a scary looking truck, but I think it's shot beautifully. I think it's acted beautifully, and I think the actual sequences are riveting, to keep you engaged like that for 80-85 minutes, whatever it actually is great. We just saw an homage to it. If you saw Disclosure Day and the railway sequence, it's a direct nod to Duel, and a sequence he does there. But yeah, I've always thought this movie's great, and one of the unsung kind of Spielberg great movies. So let's shoot my shot for Duel and see what happens. Maybe just to mix up the list from last time. We'll see.
Ross, what do you say about Duel?
Yes, and actually, it's one of the only films where I've seen this. Most films, they would slowly zoom up eventually on the driver of the truck, only feet shot, and barely that, and it's still terrifying as hell. So yes, definitely yes.
I watched Duel for the first time for this. I do think it's really good. There's only a couple of Steven Spielbergs that I'm not a big fan of, and they'll probably never come up to talk about anyway. I like it. Unfortunately, I don't have this higher than some of the other ones I've watched many times, so it's just a slight no for me. So it's going to come down to Matt. Matt, what do you say about Duel?
Of course, I always love on rank when it has to come down to any one person. I really like Duel. I mean, this is basically it's the movie that got him Jaws. The producers of Jaws were like, okay, yeah, this guy. And that's why I love the theory that the truck is carrying the shark from Jaws, which doesn't make any sense with how Duel ends, but it's just fun. But yeah, talk about, I love how you never see the driver's face, and Spielberg does such great things at the gas station when he's just about to open the door, and then the guy walks up to be like, what can I get you? And you're like, and then it's he thinks he finds him in the diner, and he goes up to confront him, and then the guy gets in a different truck, and it just plays with you. I mean, as people have talked about, all the dude had to do was kind of just pull off to the side of the road and wait 5 minutes, and this all would have been over. But where's the fun in that? I also love that they destroyed that truck for real, and it's still there. You can go find. It's completely rusted over, but if you are a fan of this movie, you can go find it in California. This is, and we're gonna say this entire time. This is really hard because it's Steven Spielberg, and he has so many good movies. I might regret this later.
Yes,
I might regret. You don't have to do that. I might regret this later down the line. But I'm going to say yes, if not for the fact that without this movie, he may not get Jaws, and that we may not get Steven Spielberg. So, So I'm giving Duel a yes.
I just want to mix up the list a little bit just for fun. Let's make it a
Yeah,
true Redux,
yeah.
you know? Yeah,
Yeah.
let's get some interesting things on there. Yeah.
As if Steven Spielberg's whole filmography isn't just full of interesting things.
Yeah, no. Just want to shoot a shot for one of his early ones. Why not? Yeah.
But Moss, what is your first nomination?
Okay, people think I'm gonna go with my favorite movie of all time, but I'm not actually. I'm gonna save that, you know, like, or maybe somebody else can take it. But I'm actually gonna go with Saving Private Ryan. I just think that this is like one of the best war movies ever made. And then I love the small moments with the characters, like Tom Hanks' character, like is just, great. And then I love Noah Wiley's scene, where it's just a comedic moment, about when he starts to cry about his brothers being killed, but then they were killed in war, and he goes, they're in grammar school. That just made me laugh. So yes, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna vote for Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, I've said this many times. Like, I'm not, when it comes to movies based on real life wars, I'm not the biggest fan of them. It's just something I've never gone to, and I do like Saving Private Ryan, but I've never been as in love with it as other people are. So I'm gonna give it a slight no, but if it makes sense, I'm not gonna be too upset. Matt, what do you say about Saving Private Ryan?
Malcolm's like, if the war is not over a ring and a volcano, I don't want it. Or In the Stars. Those are the only two war films I wish to view. Yeah, so this is the thing about Spielberg and kind of my love of him, and Saving Private Ryan was one of those movies that I loved for a really, really long time, and then I realized that I loved the opening of Saving Private Ryan, which is incredible. And then I realized, not that the movie is bad, but that, for me, my interest just waned after D-Day, the D-Day sequence, and it still is really good. But for me, I just, as time has gone on and, look at my list, I'm giving it a slight no again. If it makes the list, I'm happy, because it is a great movie, but it's just, there's just movies that I just enjoy the whole of more than the opening. And the opening is incredible. And they actually had real guys who were at D-Day who were like, yep, that was what we experienced.
And then they walked out too. They walked out.
Yeah, they were like, yep, goodbye. And the ending. I do have to mention the ending is incredible. I tell me I'm a good man. That's incredible acting. Yeah, I always feel like when I say no on streams like this, I really have to be like, no, I still like the movie. I don't hate it. Don't come at me though, guys. But it's
all right, so anybody, so if Saving Private Ryan doesn't make the list, you can come at Matthew Kearns on Facebook.
Yes, you can find me at Kearns_Matthew on Twitter.
Because
look, negative reactions work in the algorithm. So
because I think, yes, this should make the list. Even for that opening scene alone, it should make this list, because nobody's ever shot a war sequence quite like that ever in the history of cinema. That realistic and that visceral. And I still think the rest of the movie with the Operation Market Garden stuff is really good. And yeah, to say no to one of the movies that he won an Oscar for directing, I think is kind of absurd. So yeah, I would say yes.
I'm shocked, Austin, because you're saying yes to a Gino Valli Ribisi movie. I'm surprised.
He's not in the movie that much. It's fine. It doesn't ruin it for him.
Vin Diesel's in the movie. That's always something that I'm like, oh yeah, this was before Vin Diesel was.
And
Vin
also,
Diesel.
Ted Danson's in the movie, and Paul Giamatti.
Yeah, Bryan Cranston's in it too. It's one of those they just got a bunch of actors who weren't really anybody's in it.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it's not
Once
going to make
again,
the list.
that's Kearns_Matthew. You can follow me. You can tell me that I'm wrong. I like how also Malcolm said no too, but somehow the blame has been placed.
Because I knew Malcolm was going to say no. I expected you to say yes.
I expected more from you. You're like, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
I'm disappointed.
Look, and it's one of those. I've basically said the same thing every time 712 ones come up on something. So it's like most people know my feelings.
Once again, if Saving Private Ryan was about getting a ring to a volcano, this be Malcolm's #1 Spielberg film. But unfortunately, he had to make it Europe in the 1940s.
But anyway, I'm gonna try for this one because I don't know how this is going to go, but because I know at least Austin isn't a big fan of this, but I'm going to try, and I'm pretty sure this is the reason I did the initial Spielberg list in the first place, and that's the Fablemans. Like I'm a massive fan of the Fablemans. Like I really enjoyed this when it came out, and it's like being like loosely based on his life, and I think it's just a sort of a fascinating like coming of age story, in that it just hit me in the right place. It just as well, like just because it does, like I do relate to it in a way because I've always been that person who's always been interested in making movies and all that. And
well, you did write Lord of the Rings, so
I knew someone was going to say that. But yeah, so I don't know how this is going to go. But Matt, what do you say about the Fablemans?
Yeah, Fablemans. It's my sort of history with it, even though it's so recent. It's kind of interesting because when I first saw it, I didn't hate it, but like I'd seen the HBO Spielberg documentary, which came out years before, and so like I knew like kind of a big twist of the movie. Like the second Seth Rogen popped up on screen, I went, oh, I know exactly who you are and your role in this film. But then I saw it again, and yeah, like Malcolm, I really enjoyed it. I really love it, and I think, you know, as somebody like I've never made a lot of movies, but just kind of loving movies and just kind of being kind of an outsider, I connected to the movie in that way, and you know, I think Paul Dano is great in it, and Michelle Williams, and kind of seeing that whole family dynamic and how things are really great and then they get bad, but just that kind of like connected to just like that love of movies and wanting to express it and it not making sense to some people. It's great. And then that final scene, you know, where's the horizon, it's, yeah, so I'm gonna say yes to the Fablemans.
Austin, what do you say about the Fablemans?
Absolutely not. No, I don't think this movie's that good. I get that it's a very personal movie to Spielberg. I get it that it's kind of semi-autobiographical, that it's a passion project. I understand that whole approach to it. I get it. I think the true story is better than the movie itself. I think it has a few good moments. I don't mind the stuff where Gabriel LaBelle's like making the home movies and whatnot like Spielberg did, and that's all well and good. I think Michelle Williams is terrible in this movie. I think she should have gotten nominated for a Razzie, honestly. I think her over melodramatic nonsense is grating in this movie. Maybe it was true to real life, I don't know, but it makes for a damn near unwatchable performance. I think Paul Dano's fine, but I don't think he's overly special in this one. Judd Hirsch, I don't get the Oscar nomination. It's like one scene. It's not overly spectacular like Ned Beatty and Network or anything like that. And yeah, the final scene is fine, but I don't think it's a particularly compelling movie. I get that it's personal to him, but I don't think it makes for a very engaging movie. And to say if this makes a list over Saving Private Ryan, I think you guys are high, honestly. So I'm going to say a big no, like not just a no, but a big no, but just a big no to the film.
But it's going to come down to Ross. What do you say about the Fablemans?
I'm gonna have to say slightly no, only because too like how Steven Spielberg's like character has no flaws. They show him almost as perfect, which I like to have my characters, like have flaws and actually like show it, like Michelle Williams. I know that was accurate, but still, like she annoyed me. That documentary is a million times better. So I'm gonna go slightly no.
The Fablemans isn't gonna make the list. I'm gonna go back to Matt. Matt was your next nomination.
Yeah, so I did the kind of, I guess, well, you can never unrank it, you can never say anything's guaranteed, because history has shown it's not always the case. But I'm going to go for one of the ones that maybe people like, maybe people don't. I'm going with Empire of the Sun. I think this movie is really, really fascinating. I think choosing to sort of go through World War II, but from the perspective of a child, and kind of doing this sort of coming of age story of him growing through this very traumatic experience of being separated from his parents and not knowing what to do, and then with John Malkovich, kind of he thinks he's found a place until Malkovich, becomes this terrible guy who abuses him, and then you just feel for Christian Bale throughout this entire thing. It's just a series of like every time he gets there, he comes back down, and then the ending, like I love of just like the fact that spoilers for a movie that's like 4 years old, the fact that like his parents don't even recognize him at first because he's changed so much, and then when they it's that classic, like Spielberg, Don Bluth kind of like, you can just emotionally wreck people, but if you have a happy ending, it's all okay. And for Christian Bale, who of course we all know now is this incredible, actor, to see his sort of beginnings, this is one of his first big movies. I think this could easily be his first leading movie. He's fantastic in it. He completely, he sells the really shitty rich kid at the beginning of the movie, but then he also sells the like kind of broken kid at the end, and I think it's a really stellar movie. So Empire of the Sun is my next nomination.
Austin, what do you say about Empire of the Sun?
Nope, not even close. My Spielberg rankings, I have this in like the bottom quarter of his movies. I watched it for the first time a couple years ago. I think the sequence where he gets separated from his parents is well done. I think that little chunk of the movie where he's like trying to survive and he's kind of bouncing in and out of the houses and the abandoned stuff is all right. Once he gets to the camp, I tap out. I think the movie gets incredibly boring, incredibly dull, and kind of limps to the finish. I don't think it's terribly exciting. I forget this movie exists half the time in its filmography. So yeah, that's a big no for me.
Ross, what do you say about Empire of the Sun?
Slightly yes. I love it, but I get how like people couldn't like it, but still, it's still good, but I'm gonna say slightly no because there's a lot more like heavy hitters on here. So, but I do love it.
Did you say slightly yes or slightly no? You said yes.
Slightly no.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because
you literally said yes.
I do.
And said no.
Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry,
Ross, why are you doing this to me, man? You're emotionally wrecking me like Empire of the Sun emotionally wrecks me.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's well that I would have said no anyway. Like, I'm kind of similar to Austin on this anyway. There's I think that it does have some good elements in it, but I think when it gets to camp, it just kind of loses it a little bit. Just like a lot of the movies here, I do think it's a good movie. Like, it's a decent movie. I do like it. But yeah. So it's a no for me. Unfortunately, Empire Sun's not going to make the list. And we go back to Austin.
See, I was gonna start keep the personal favorites going, but with the way this panel's going so far, I don't know about that. I might just have to stick to the heavy hitters and make sure they actually make the list.
Yeah, you never know.
All right, Jaws. Yeah, Jaws should make the list. If anybody says no, you shouldn't be on this panel. Jaws. Ross, what do you say?
Ross, what do you say about Jaws?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely. It's one of the heavy hitters. And yes. Without, if this wasn't a Jaws, if Jaws did not make the list, we literally burned at the stake.
Yes.
Yeah. No. I'm not like a crazy person all the time. But yeah. I do really love Jaws. I think it's fantastic. So Jaws getting my vote easily.
Okay.
Matt, what do you say about Jaws?
I don't know where this. I'm just having to make sure because this panel so far.
Thank God someone brought this up because I guess this is finally my chance to talk about this. I mean, ever since I saw Jaws of Revenge, I went, "That's a shark movie. It's roaring. It's in Jamaica. There's banana boats. It's hunting them.
It's good.
So much better." No, I'm kidding. Of course, it's Jaws. It's fantastic. It's the movie that made the summer blockbuster. I also think, if I'm not mistaken, it's the 51st anniversary of Jaws today. I think is when it came out. So that's just a cool little fun fact. Yeah, it's incredible. Yes.
But that Jaws is going to make the list. And we go back to Ross.
I'm gonna go with Schindler's List. I think that this is probably like the best movie that Spielberg has ever done. and then there's a lot of bleakness, but it also has a lot of like happiness in there too. So I'm gonna go with Schindler's List, and then I just think that like that one more scene always breaks me, and I've seen the movie 10 to 15 times. So yeah, Schindler's List.
Yeah. I think Schindler's List is a hard watch, and which isn't a surprise. Like no one expected it. Comedy or anything, but I think it's a fantastic movie, and I think it's just brilliant from start to finish. Matt, what do you say about Schindler's List?
Yeah, it's fantastic. Like it is a hard watch, but that was Spielberg's intention. And yeah, I think Liam Neeson. I've talked about it before. It's one of my favorite performances by an actor I've ever seen in a movie. I just think it's incredible. It's emotional. Yeah, the pin scene at the very end, like it's great, and I love the black and white of it all, and the with the girl in red, like it makes it stick out, and Ray Fiennes obviously is terrifying and but also kind of intriguing, and it's just. Yeah, it wrecks you emotionally, but man, it's if you're looking for a good time being emotionally wrecked, Schindler's List, put that on the next 4K release quote.
And Austin, what do you say about Schindler's List?
Yeah, 100%. It's probably not like my personal favorite Spielberg movie because I can't go sit down and watch it all the time, that sort of thing. But yeah, I think anybody who argues that, it's his best movie, I'd be hard pressed to argue against it. Yeah, I mean, it's still one of the reasons, like it's kind of the definitive sort of Holocaust film. But there's a really heartfelt story at the center of it, with the actual list. And yeah, I'm in the camp where I think Ray Fiennes should have won over Tommy Lee Jones for The Fugitive that year. Personally, I think he gives a better performance. I like Tommy Lee Jones in The Fugitive, but he's just being Tommy Lee Jones. Like I think Ray Fiennes is genuinely terrifying and fascinating at the same time. His name on Goth, and I think he's amazing. Kind of steals the movie. And yeah, Kingsley's great, and Bette Davis is great. So yeah, great stuff all around. Still compelling to this day. So yeah, no, huge yes, of course, for Schindler.
Yeah. But it's back to me, and I'm going to try for this one. See how this goes, because and this is a movie we actually talked about on something recently, because we were talking about how Catch Me If They Can should have been nominated and maybe won Best Picture that year. Yeah. And I think, and like it's one of those ones I fully agree with, because I think Catch Me If You Can is fantastic. I don't know, like it's one of those ones I didn't know much about this Frank Abagnale before I saw this movie. It was just one of those ones that I went into sort of blind, and I think it's just fantastic. Like Leo is great as this kid who's like just an expert at pretending to be like a pilot, a doctor, all that. Well, it's one of those ones like the fact he managed to get away with all of this without people questioning his age. It's just an amazing kind of like story. And I think Tom Hanks is also great in it as well. But yeah, but Matt, what do you say about Catch Me If You Can?
Yeah, it's a great movie. Yeah, it's amazing that he was able to get away with this. I think my favorite is when he's the lawyer and he just watches like courtroom dramas, and then they go and he's like, I object, and they're like, yeah, we're not doing that right now. Yeah, I also want to mention Christopher Walken, because this is a really interesting performance for him, because when we think about like post Deer Hunter Christopher Walken, we think of like Mo Cowbell and definitely on cocaine while doing the James Bond movie, but like he's very subdued in this film, and I like that, like the scene between him and DiCaprio later in the movie. It's great. Yeah, Hanks is and I love that moment of on Christmas where he like realizes that like we both only really have each other right now. Like we don't have anybody else. Yeah, it's a fantastic movie. It's a yes from me.
Austin, what do you say about Catch Me If You Can?
Yeah, I'm in the camp where I really like Catch Me If You Can as well. I think it should have been nominated as part of that group in that year. The fact that it wasn't is kind of crazy because I would have subbed it in for at least two of the movies in that Oscar pool that year. I've always said it's the movie that feels most like a Scorsese movie that Spielberg made. Just the pacing, how it kind of zips along, and some of the scams and the cons. DiCaprio, yeah, which is ironic because DiCaprio had a good month because in the same month he was in this and Gangs of New York, so he had a Scorsese movie and he had a Spielberg movie out in theaters at the exact same time, and two very different performances. So I think it's it's really interesting to see. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting that that one feels more like a Scorsese movie, the kind of anything he's ever done. But yeah, this movie zips along. I think it's really entertaining. The John Williams score is kind of cool, like the way it works in the '60s kind of style. But it's shot well, great performances all around. Yeah, it's on my list for this episode, so I'll say yes.
Ross, what do you say about Catch Me If You Can?
Yes, it's on my list. Yes, definitely yes.
All right.
Yeah, and Brian was saying that we talked about it on Friday before Carol versus Wild
because we would have sent out Chicago for
Catch
Me If You Can in the Oscars that year. So yeah, for the pool.
Yeah. But if that, we're back to Matt. What is your next nomination?
Yeah, so we did a personal favorite, so now I'll do, I guess, maybe a gimme. I don't know. I'm going with, we already did the 1993 Spielberg movie, so let's do the other one, which is Jurassic Park. Which is crazy. They came out in the same year, and one guy made both of them. Yeah, Jurassic Park. I mean, it's a fantastic movie. It's I've always kind of talked about it. It's a kind of then modern update of the Frankenstein story of this is what happens when you play God. The cast obviously is great. Sam Neill, Laura Dern, Jeff Goldblum, Attenborough. It's just. The John Williams score is amazing. It's a completely stellar movie from start to finish. There's a nice bit of intrigue in the opening act, with the amber mines and everything, and then when the Rex is released, it's fantastic. And then the ending, there's a bit of somberness, of just man, what could have been. I love that final moment of Hammond. Right before he gets on the helicopter, he's kind of just looking out at everything, and Alan has to sort of pull him in. Yeah, it's great. So Jurassic Park.
Austin, what do you say about Jurassic Park?
Well, as Malcolm knows, I don't think the guy that is dressed as Dennis Nedry for cosplay was going to say no to Jurassic Park, who I literally have my Jurassic
You could
Park
just be a really big Seinfeld fan.
Listen, I am a big fan of Wayne Knight, but from the guy who has done the cosplay, I have the Jurassic Park raincoat in there and all the Barbasol can and all the gimmicks I need to do the cosplay. No, it's a top 10 favorite movie of all time for me. I think this is an easy gimme for Jurassic Park. I've watched it God knows how many times, hundreds of times at this point, because I had it on video. The first movie I ever remember giving me nightmares as a kid with the Raptors from my first showing of it, but in a good way. And it's the story I usually tell quickly is that I went with my mom to a brewery up here where I live now, and they were showing Jurassic Park outdoors, but their speaker system was garbage. So all we could hear is the sound effects and the music, and a lot of stuff. The dialogue was really muffled, whatever system they had going. The dialogue was terribly muffled. So I just sat there and quoted her the entire movie, pretty much from start to finish. And I was like, "No problem, Mom, I got you." And I pretty much quoted almost start to finish all the dialogue, no problem. So because this movie's just burned into my brain. So no, 100% for Jurassic Park.
Ross, what do you say about Jurassic Park?
Of course, and people, they don't really understand how tight the screenplay is too. Do you think there would be a detail today of when Nedry turns off all the power? He doesn't turn off everything, because they talk about how he left the raptor area turned on, all the fences. So most movies
even
today,
Nedry knew better than to mess with a raptor.
Yep. So yes, definitely yes. If this wasn't on, we people would have pitchforks.
A fun thing. I know it's hard to see, but right there on my shelf is a Steven Spielberg action figure directing Jurassic Park. They released that a couple years ago, and I bought it. It's like a Steven Spielberg action figure.
Imagine Jordan's reaction if Jurassic Park doesn't make the list, but Jaws does.
Yeah, right.
With conniptions.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jurassic Park is like fantastic. Like, it's easily deserves to be on this list. So it's going to make the list. Awesome. We go back to you for your next nomination.
I'll put one more maybe heavy hitter in here, and then maybe we can go back to some personal favorites. I just want to make, you can't have a list like this without Raiders and Jaws and Jurassic Park and Schindler's List, stuff like that. You gotta have to have those on the list, and then you can kind of bounce a little bit here and there. Because I noticed Malcolm was Catch Me If You Can wasn't on the last the original one, right?
It wasn't on the last one, no.
All right, so we have 2 fresh ones now, so cool. So we're using fresh stuff, which is fine. I mean, it was on the one last time, but I'm also, I think Ross just implied that with his comments. I'm going to go Last Crusade. I legitimately, Last Crusade is my favorite Indiana Jones movie. And it's not a knock against Raiders at all. They're both great. But I think Last Crusade is kind of also a perfect movie. And man, I just keep going back to this because the older I get, the more I just appreciate the father-son dynamic with Connery and Harrison Ford. I think they have incredible chemistry back and forth. Their rapport is great. Even getting down to the blimp scene where he finally says, I got so much to talk about. He's like, all right, what do you want to talk about? And he's just like, I don't know. It's just like it kind of what are you complaining about? It's great. Like the way that John Williams twists the kind of score with the new themes, the kind of the Sean Connery's themes, some of the Nazi stuff is great. Love Donovan as a villain. I think he's awesome. Again, the great, amazing set pieces. The Vic Armstrong stunt work in that tank sequence is incredible. Holy crap. That when he does the jump to the tank from the horse is one of the most insane things ever. So yeah, I think it's super, super rewatchable, and he's still at the top of his game here. So yeah, let's shoot a shot for Last Crusade. See what happens.
Ross, what do you say about Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade?
Hell yes, it's my favorite Indiana Jones movie. And then people don't talk. I mean, people talk about this reaction, but when he finds out that he actually had his dad's sloppy seconds, it's just hilarious. She talks in her sleep. So yes, and it's my favorite one. I love the scene on the boat, and then it actually is one of the few films where it literally does the fake out death well, and that's very hard to do. So yes, oh yes.
When he goes into Bond mode for a second and just goes, yes, well, it was rather lovely. It's very James Bond right there when Sean Connery kind of slides back into it flawlessly.
And that was on purpose. Steven Spielberg said he cast him because he was Bond.
Of course.
Yeah, and I mean to say we were talking about Raiders, if it wasn't for Steven Spielberg being told no, we won't let you direct a James Bond movie, we probably wouldn't have got Indiana Jones because it was because of that. George Lucas said, I've got this project that I think would be more suited for you.
We still would have gotten Indiana Jones. It's not the same. Lucas was working on this around the time he was starting Star Wars.
Well, yeah, it would have thrown a wrench in it, and we might not have got the exact same movie.
He would have had to go with it. Would have been Brian De Palma presents Raiders of the Lost Ark, which is a very different movie.
Well, I mean,
it
probably would
have. It probably would have been called also Indiana Smith, which that name I hate.
Yeah, but yeah, so we've got the James Bond producers to thank for getting the Indiana Jones that we know. And yeah, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade is my favorite of the Indiana Jones movie. I think it's just fantastic from start to finish, and I think that the whole father-son dynamic between him and Sean Connery, I think is great. So I think on Father's Day, I think it's perfect that this one still makes the list again. But Matt, what do you say about Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade?
Look, I love this movie, and I'm the lone person who ranks it third of the Indiana Jones movies. My rankings go in release order. I love this movie because of Sean Connery and Harrison Ford. Their chemistry is amazing. I love the story that Sean Connery tells of when Spielberg approached him. He went, I'm only 12 years older than Harrison. I don't know if this can work. And they were like, Sean, it's a movie. It's fine. And yeah, the father and son stuff is great. And then there's other stuff that's good, but not as great as Raiders and Temple of Doom. But it already made the list, and I'm okay with that. And like Malcolm said, it's Father's Day. That's why last year they released...
you can still nominate Temple of Doom, and I might say yes. Just putting that out there.
Who's to say I'm not going to?
Yeah, who's to say
but yeah, that's why I love.
Who's to say you can't do that?
I also just want to say, because there's a thing that makes me laugh every time I watch this movie that a lot of people don't notice, which is when they're on the blimp right before they leave, and Vogel's going around like kind of checking everybody. If you notice, Sean Connery is reading the German newspaper upside down because he doesn't understand German, so he would not know. It's just such a great little detail that I love that Spielberg put in there. And also, I'm surprised nobody's mentioned it, since we're talking about Sean Connery. He shoots the fin, and then it's, "I'm sorry, son. They got us." It's fantastic.
Yeah, and then the scene with the ducks. I think it's the ducks or the sequels or something like that.
Yeah, it said seagulls, although technically it was doves actually flying. But, yeah. Yeah, he's great. Yeah, let my armies be the something in the sea and the birds of the air.
And the birds in the sky.
Those men are trying to kill us. I know, Dad. Happens. I'm sorry, this is a new experience for me. Happens to me all the time.
Perfect. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade is going to make the list. And we go back to Ross.
Okay. I put it off long enough.
Yeah, I know.
My birthday gift too. My favorite movie of all time. Hook. Signed by Bubba. Yes, Hook is my favorite movie of all time. I've seen it thousands of times. I've quoted it a lot. So yes, Hook.
Yeah.
How the psychology of it all. Like how he basically like has to learn how to be a kid and like what it means to grow up and what it means to be a father on Father's Day. So yes, I'm Hook. Yes.
Yeah, no, Hook is fantastic. It's one of those movies that that every time I watch it, I really miss the fact that Robin Williams is not around anymore, because it's one of those ones that always reminds me on how good he was between that and Mrs. Doubtfire and all that. But yeah, I think Hook is just fantastic. It's a lot of fun. I'm actually overdue for a rewatch of it actually. But so it's an easy yes for me. Matt, what do you say about Hook?
Bangarang. Yeah, I love Hook. Talking about Robin Williams, this is my favorite Robin Williams movie. I think he's absolutely fantastic. I love at the beginning when he's the meek Peter Banning, and he cares more about his job than his family, and when he comes back, like, he doesn't remember any of this. He doesn't believe it. There's such great humor in the beginning. Like, when Wendy's telling Peter, like, who he is, that just, Moira! Maggie Smith is also great in this. And I love the fact that, like, obviously, given my age, my introduction to Maggie Smith was Harry Potter. But, like, she wasn't actually that age in 1991. That was just some really great makeup to make her... And also, Gwyneth Paltrow, one of her early movies, playing the young Wendy. And she's fantastic in it. Dustin Hoffman, we haven't spoken about yet. So good. Funny and scary at points. Dante Bosco, obviously, is amazing. And the whole movie, it's just this, like... It's this really joyful movie that kind of reminds you not so much how to be a kid, because I don't think that's it. I think it's just like how to have fun in life. And that's why I love, there's this running theme Hook has throughout the movie of, death is the only true adventure. At the very end of the movie, Wendy is like, so your adventures are over. And Peter's response is, no, to live would be an awfully great adventure. So yeah, Hook is a definite yes for me. And the George Lucas Carrie Fisher cameo is great as the two lovers on the bridge that Tinkerbell
and Glenn Close was a great cameo too.
Oh yeah, the Boo Boo Box, which scared the shit out of me as a child. I was like, oh, what is that? Yeah. And not the box, like, just Glenn Close scared me.
Yeah, and like after watching it last year in the theater, I was like watching the scene where like Hook basically takes Jack and Wings, and I went, he's not wrong. I hate to say it, but he has some valid points there.
Oh, it's also a super funny movie. Like, I love the moment when Hook and him are gonna have their first fight, and Peter pulls out his checkbook and Hook just shoots it.
And then like the whole like nearsighted gynecologist.
But anyway, Austin, what do you say about Hook?
Sorry, I was letting these guys get their memory bears out. All right. No, it's all good. Because what's fascinating is I think how Spielberg is like not a fan of his own movie. In this case, he's always said how he if he could kind of redo some stuff in it, he would. That he loves the first act, but he just didn't like how the other ones came out. But this movie obviously has an ardent fan base, and I'm one of them. So you're gonna get a yes from me, but just not keeping you in suspense. But I think it kind of hinges on whether you grew up with this movie or not. And luckily I did. So I had this movie on video, watched it a whole bunch. This movie's burned into my brain. I have an 8x10 of Dante Basco's Rufio right up on my wall. Met him, he's great. I've appreciated the adult kind of stuff, the family stuff in the first act more and more as I've gotten older. Man, do I love like the set design of this movie is incredible. Like all the practical sets, you just don't see stuff like that anymore. I think John Williams' score for this is like a top 5 like John Williams score. I think he's at his best here. And I some of my favorite stuff is the Hoffman and Bob Hoskins chemistry back and forth. I think they're amazing together in their scenes, and I love Bob Hoskins.
Don't try to stop me, Mr. Smee. Don't try to stop me. Not again. Stop me, Mr. Smee. Stop me.
Yeah. He's amazing. So, oddly enough, I think you have to have the right panel for this to get a yes on this list, but I think we do tonight, so it's going to make the list.
What about Smee? Smee? What about me?
It's his lowest on Rotten Tomatoes also. It's way better than 1941, which is...
Wait, what?
Way better, yeah.
Yeah, look it up. Yeah.
EFG exists, guys.
I know, yeah.
The fuck? Well, yeah, it's also, like you said, it's like, I mean, I get you, like, the first time on the earth, but come on, Steven. You made 1941, and this is the one you're disappointed with?
And then always is almost worse.
I mean, it's one of those ones like I'm not bringing up 941 anyway, but I think it's one of those ones like with some directors maybe like if a movie turns out the way they want, like I don't know. I haven't heard him talk about 1941, so I don't know. But it might be one of those ones that he liked how it turned out, even though people don't like it.
Yeah, I guess that it's just like he doesn't.
Or maybe he had fun making it. Like who knows? Some of those movies where the director's like, I had fun making it. We all had a good time.
You
whatever,
never
just didn't come out right. But it is what it is.
I mean, look, I watched it. I can get how someone could have fun making it.
You had like Belushi, Aykroyd,
John Candy, like all these guys in this movie. Like
it could be hard to not have fun making that movie.
Yeah,
especially in
the director's cut though is 2 hours and 20 minutes. I'm thinking that's too long for a school.
Oh, that's also something I always forget every time I watch Hook. Is I'm just like, dude, I forget this movie is like 2.5 hours. I always forget that. Because when you're a kid, like the concept of lengths of movies is never in your brain. Yeah. I was always like, oh yeah, this is gotta be like under 2 hours. I'm like, it's not.
Anyways, Malcolm, what's your nomination?
I've got about like 3 or 4 that is like I'm looking at is like a couple which I'm pretty sure probably won't make it. But I'm going to try for this one because I know at least Austin likes it. And I'm bringing up War of the Worlds and not the 2025 one that is...
That I just drank 6 beers to last night? On stream. Go watch
the one where the writer says that the writer said that like the script was written before Amazon came on.
Bullshit.
Because I think Spielberg's take on War of the Worlds, I think it's fantastic. And it's one of those ones like I've seen a lot of people say this, they think it's like it's Spielberg's like last great movie for a long time. And which I personally disagree with. I think there's a few others that were released later that I do enjoy more. But I think War of the Worlds, I think it's the way I think he does like really loves the story, and it's just I think he does it fantastically. Like I've always really enjoyed his Alien like movies a lot as well. I think this one is a really interesting take. I think the design of the tripods are great, so I don't know how this is going to go. But Matt, what do you say about War of the Worlds?
I mean, you take Steven Spielberg and Tom Cruise and science fiction, and you put it into a movie. Of course, I fucking love it. It's incredible. This is one of those movies that I saw when I was in high school, and that was before, like, I was really, I mean, social media wasn't what it is today, but, like, it's one of those movies I'm like, man, that's a great movie. And then you, like, start to get into these movie discussion groups. It's like, one of Spielberg's worst. And I'm like, I guess I watched a different film than a lot of people, because I think this movie's great. I like, you know, the sort of Cruise is this kind of shitty dad who's forced into this situation to where he really has to kind of step up. And you know, yes, I know people have talked about that. They're like, man, the 9/11, you know, parables, it's a little much. But I'm like, hey, I mean, it was made in 2005, and I think it's really interesting to kind of, like, tell the story of, like, yeah, in a post 9/11 world, like, this probably is kind of how an alien invasion would go and how people would feel. But it's great. It's really tense. You know, and like the plane crash sequence, I really love that. It's just like that building sound and the kind of them running and having to get to a smaller place. Like it's so well done. And I know some people don't like the ending, but I do. I like the ending. You know, you can just have happy endings sometimes, people. Everything doesn't have to be depressing. If you want depressing, just watch the Ice Cube version. And you could just be, not because the movie ends depressingly, but just because you go, someone got paid to make that. But yeah, it's a yes.
But Austin, what do you think about War of the Worlds?
So this started off rough tonight, but I like where this is going because no, I think Malcolm knows from my time at tournament fights. Anytime it's come up, yeah, I adore War of the Worlds. I love War of the Worlds, and to me, this is. And I'm not saying that Spielberg hasn't made good movies. I think he's made some good movies since like 2005 or the early 2000s. This is just the last one I was like really over the moon about, that like really knocked my socks off. Was back then. I've been kind of waiting for that next one that really blew me away, and he hasn't quite delivered that to me in the last 20 years, which is fine because he's still made amazing banger after banger, like especially in his early career. So he'll always be like one of my favorites. But War of the Worlds, man, like I love a good disaster movie. I'm a big disaster movie nut, and like alien invasion type stuff. And man, I think some of the sequences in this thing are some of the best action he's ever directed, some of the best tension. That opening attack, man, where that thing is just like vaporizing people left and right on the streets, is like, holy shit. Like there is some like visceral stuff where you're just like, it just takes your breath away. I think it's great. He has some genuinely like moments of horror, like when the river walk like goes, there's all the bodies like floating down the river is like terrifying. Yeah, that airplane sequence where it's just the sound design, you don't actually see the plane, but you see the aftermath. There's some great practical work here. Love the designs of everything. The stuff where they're sucking people up and spitting their blood out everywhere is terrifying. Like I even don't mind the what's his name, the sequence with Tim Tim Robbins. I was
actually Meadows. I'm like, his not Tim Meadows.
No, Tim Robbins. I don't even mind that stuff because I think it just like akin to the fact that how different people deal with the situation and some of the crazy people out there and whatnot. So I don't even mind that stuff. Tom Cruise is in full movie star mode here, but man, I adore War of the Worlds, so I'm happy to put it on this list.
But Ross, what do you say about War of the Worlds?
Yes, I've always loved it too, and like I remember I was watching this review after I saw it because I said this movie terrified me, and like I don't know why. And they say the scariest part of the movie is not the alien stuff; it's Tom Cruise just being a bad dad. And I go, they're not wrong. Yeah, so it made me think, But yeah, I love this movie, so yes, and I love it. I love like Parker's performance, and then like ashes in the 9/11 and stuff. Yes.
I like that we're going to have almost a completely different list other than a few of the heavy hitters. I kind of like this. It's interesting. Yeah. It's going to be a true Redux story. It's going to be like, maybe it just depends on the panel, and
there's definitely some that made the list, like Moose Side Story and stuff. It was like, I mean, I didn't realize, so I was surprised had made the list that year.
Did you guys know that like West Side Story though came out on Hook's 30th anniversary?
I did not.
No.
All right. Well, 3 spots left. Let's see what makes it.
Yikes.
But Matt, what is your next nomination?
God, yeah, this is hard because it's Spielberg. It's like I have favorites of mine, and then there are heavy hitters that are also favorites of mine. But all right, I guess free spots. You gotta just do what you gotta do. I have to go with it. E.T.
Mhm.
E.T. It is the logo of his production company for a reason, because it's a stellar movie. It's one of the earliest Spielberg. I have problems with my dad leaving, and I'm gonna use Aliens to talk about it. But that stuff all works for me, and I like how it's sprinkled in throughout and feels so real. Like the moment when Elliot is there at the kitchen table and he's like, Dad would believe me. And then, later on when him and his brother are talking about how their dad used to take them to movies and whatever, but just all the stuff of E.T. is just, I like how very early in the movie it's shown that Elliot he doesn't really have friends. He's kind of an outsider. And then he meets this alien who his family, friends, whomever, kind of left him behind, and the bond that they share, it's beautiful, and it's heartbreaking when E.T. starts to get sick and starts dying. And like there was a time a couple of years ago when something in my personal life had happened, and I watched E.T. around the time of it, and it still brings me to tears. I love the stuff with the adults in the movie, that throughout the first 2 acts of the film, the only adult that you see fully is Elliot's mom. All the other adults are hidden, and it creates this great sense of kind of fear of them. And then even when they are revealed, like, they're still, except for Keys, they're kind of assholes and they're mean. But the movie is also fun. I was just thinking about today, one of the moments that still makes me laugh is when they're trying to get E.T. to the park, and the older brother's in the car, and the guy comes up, he's like, what are you doing? He goes, I driving. And it's like, I've never driven forwards before. And this is one of John Williams' best scores of all time. So yeah, E.T. It's my nomination.
Austin, what do you say about E.T.?
Yeah, I think this is one of the other kind of heavy hitters that kind of needs to be on this list. Like we talked about, and it's another movie that I've grown to appreciate more actually as I get older. And I look back on my childhood, or look at Dee Wallace's role in the movie as the mom, and the family dynamic itself, I think, is even more fascinating now than just the cute moments or the some of the action scenes. Like the bicycle chase is great. Like I think it's still, again, one of his better kind of action scenes, even though it's not car chases or some crazy people punching.
Yeah, Tom Cruise ain't jumping over flying cars.
That's what I mean. But it's still really exciting. Like these kids on bikes running from cops. It's still super exciting.
And they got those scary walkie-talkies.
Rinse and repeat of I think the only movie on here that we don't have with a John Williams score is Duel, just because he wasn't working with him yet. But yeah, I mean, you could say, hey, great John Williams score for every single one of these movies on this list. That's just kind of a given. But yeah, I mean, everything is just brilliant. It's easily understood why this is one of his most successful movies of all time too. So yeah, I'll say yes to E.T.
Ross, what do you say about E.T.?
Oh, yes, definitely. And then I actually read this on IMDb, and a few years ago that and I watched E.T. again. I go, oh my god, that's brilliant. Okay, the movie starts off from Ellie's point of view, and as Elliot grows, the camera rises to a normal camera. So he's seen the world more as an adult. So yes, I love E.T. My friend is terrified. And speaking about the E.T. ride, though, I forgot to bring this up during War of the Worlds. Literally, they bought that jet for $60,000. And I'll send this video to you guys. They actually took out the E.T. flying music, they put in the Hook flying music, and it still works. So but still, yes, I love E.T. That's one of the best child performances of all time. And back when PG mentioned penis breath.
I actually completely forgot War of the Worlds was scored by John Williams.
I had to double check, but he did. Yeah, so literally,
it doesn't have the hallmarks of a regular Williams.
Yeah. It sounds the only thing we have on the list that doesn't is Duel, who is just because.
It sounds like John Williams almost copying Hans Zimmer in a way with the score. I remember.
Also,
that's what I was thinking.
let's be honest with Duel, considering it started out as a TV movie, they wouldn't have been able to afford John Williams at that time.
I wish John Williams could go back and like make a score for Duel.
Oh, just redo the score.
Yeah,
It's
just like do something with Duel. Like I think he could come up with something cool. Like just
Probably.
because. Yeah.
He's John
Anyways,
Williams.
sorry, Mo. Go ahead.
But yeah, I like it. I've never been that much of a massive fan of ET. It's just been one that I've liked, but never overly loved. Look, I still would have given it a slight yes, just because I do think it is. I don't hate it. I do think it's a good movie. It's just one that I've never. It's just one of those ones that I've never been a big go-to. But that,
And as Brian pointed out, the ET ride at Universal is
Still there.
my favorite
It's still one
ride
of my
at
favorite
Universal.
rides. Yeah, I go to Universal all the time. It's still one of my favorites. Still
I
great.
love that ride. And the
Anybody-
queue before is so fun.
People
where you go through the
know
woods.
this reference. You only know this reference if you've ever been there. The smell inside of the ET ride is so unique and interesting.
When you
that
get
I
to
don't know how to
ET's home
describe it.
planet,
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
like that water smell that I've never smelt anywhere else. in
Anywhere
my
else, I don't know
life.
what it is, but it's there.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
and let's not forget, ET is in the Senate as well. So,
Which
Yes.
is why he recognizes Yoda on
Yeah.
Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
But that also just brings up some really weird questions of, is George Lucas an alien like they say in Men in Black?
Maybe.
I guess so.
apparently George Lucas is going to be a voice in the Minions movie.
I'm going to go and see the Minions movie just for George Lucas. I love a so yellow first banana.
But anyway, Matt, what is your next nomination?
No, I nominated
He did
E.T.
E.T. He
So
did.
it's
I'll submit back to you.
Yeah.
oh wait, I could get another one of mine on. No,
Yeah, right. I know. I don't know where to go with this. Yeah, because the rest of these are kind of like I've got a couple that are like personal favorites, so I'll have to just pick and see. But you know what? Let's make it a true like weird, crazy redux. Matt, you with? Let's do a Temple of Doom. Why not? let's put the original trilogy on there. Like I'm down with it. Screw anybody who doesn't like that. I'm down with it because again, I grew up with all three of the three of the original movies. I had the box set, watched them over and over again. But I legit think like again, it's no slide. Like saying, you know, to me, whatever you rank the first three, I still think they're all great. Like I've watched every one of them a million times. Like, and I think Temple of Doom. Like again, talk about John Williams again. I like the way some of the themes he comes up with. This one, the like the little kind of villagey sort of Indian themes. I think are great. The opening, yeah, with him doing basically his rip on James Bond. That was like the little mini Bond movie with Harrison Ford in the white tuxedo. Doing kind of a deal with the villain. Like it's a total Bond opening, and then yeah, again some great action. I love the religious stuff, with the Shankara stones and the I think the sequence of Mola Ram where he rips out the dude's heart like with the music thumping, like it's one of the crazy sequences I think he's ever done. It's amazing. Yeah, I have a Temple of Doom shirt. Matt, I just didn't wear it. I have a Mola Ram shirt with him holding up the heart. So I'm all about it. I think he's a terrifying villain. But man, that last like 40 minutes of the movie, that just extended action sequence from the start of the mine fight all the way to the end to the bridge, I think is some of the best kinetic action Spielberg's ever done from start to finish. I think it's fantastic. Has my favorite shot of Indiana Jones ever when they pull the mine cart up and he's just standing there and they pull the light up to him and he's just looking total badass before he beats up the dude. Like I think he's in rip roaring form here. So you know what? Screw what anybody says. Let's put all three of them on there. I say yes into Temple of Doom. Let's do it.
Ross, what do you say about Temple of Doom?
I like Temple of Doom. Like it's my third favorite out of the trilogy, but it's still really fun. And then it would be some director's best in like any other series. It would actually be the best one in the series. And then I just like, and people complain about the racism. It's a movie, and then they complain. They complain about that scene, where they fall from the plane. It's a movie, and then Dan Aykroyd's cameo always cracks me up. So yes, let's put the trilogy in there.
Mm-hmm.
I like Temple of Doom. It's not like and it's not saying much because I'd like all the Indiana Jones movies to some very degrees. This is my least favorite Indiana Jones movie, period. But
over Dial of Destiny and Crystal Skull.
Over Dial of Boredom.
I enjoy those.
Dial of Doodoo? No, thank you.
We're gonna have a discussion at some other point privately.
But it's just one of those ones like original trilogy that it's just never like I've liked it. I've just never been overly in love with it. But yeah, I would have given a slight no, but I know what Matt's going to say. Matt, what do you say about Temple of Doom?
Molaram, prepare to meet Kali in hell. Now look, I have been on Rankum since the start of the show. Not fully, because my job in college made me work a closing shift, so I couldn't be on the first episode. Whatever it is to start. And it was all make sense to Temple Doom. Normally, when I'm on these things, I try to be like, no, come on, like, especially somebody like Spielberg, the list should really represent his whole career. It shouldn't just be all movies from the same series. Fuck that. This is a Redux. The last one, as you saw, that had a nice little script. Temple of Doom is amazing. It's amazing. The racism. Spielberg has talked about the whole point of that whole thing was it was a send up to 1930s, 40s adventures in which it was a bunch of movies and serials being made by a bunch of racist white guys. So it makes sense. As Austin said, I've always said that as a complete film, Razorlock Arc to me is the greatest adventure movie. But that section from the moment Short Round brings Indy out of the black sleep to the end of the bridge sequence is the greatest adventure film ever made because every beat is great. It's fun. You know, the moment when they play on the swordsman scene from Raiders where he goes for the gun and he doesn't have and the Harrison Ford smile like and the bridge scene is my favorite scene in the entire Indiana Jones series. And one of the reasons why is Spielberg and Lucas always talked about the fact that they envisioned Indiana Jones as kind of a flip side of James Bond, whereas James Bond was always this like super in control of the situation guy. Indiana Jones was always in over his head. So I love that moment when Mulram is leading Willing Short Round onto the bridge, and there's the guys coming on both sides, and Harrison Ford looks forward, looks back, and just this great moment to himself where he just goes, oh shit. Like, it's so good, and then you see the gears working, and he puts his leg through. I love Mulram. He's not my favorite villain, that's Belloc, but he's such a great, like, he's crazy. Like in that whole, like, you will call me master, it's like only on special occasions. Like, Harrison Ford's great throughout this movie. This whole movie is just, it's fun. And I like Willie. She is annoying, but that's the whole design of her character. And her being such a scaredy cat led to possibly Harrison Ford's greatest facial reaction in a movie, which is, we are going to die. That, like, frown he gives is stellar. So yeah, Temple of Doom deserves to make this list. And this is also my favorite movie poster of all time. It's the Temple of Doom poster.
And it's going to make this list. I've got one spot left. Ross, what is the movie going to bring out?
King of the Crystal Skull. Let's just do all of this Spielberg.
No.
I'm the only person who likes it. It's okay.
Okay, I'm going to go back to the 70s. Close Encounters of the Third Kind, which I actually think is it gets its love, but I feel like it's like underrated. And then I love how many cuts there are, and then I just love like him being drawn to it, and then you could tell that Spielberg like right in the heat of his father issues because of the way that Richard Dreyfuss acts. I think this might be my favorite Richard Dreyfuss performance, so I'm gonna go with Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
This was one of the movies I chose to rewatch for this, just because it's been a while since I've seen it. And it just happened to be at the library too when I was looking for Spielberg movies, see what was there, this is one I do like the movie. I think it is fantastic, but just for purely strategic reasons, I'm going to give it a slight no, but I'm not going to be too opposed if it makes the list. Matt, what do you say about Close Encounters of the Curious Kind?
So Close Encounters is really interesting. So when I was a kid, this was like one of the early movies my dad bought when we got a DVD player and we watched it, and I liked it, and I kind of grew up like, you know, revisiting it every now and again. But in 2017, they re-released it for the 40th anniversary, and me, my dad, my mom, and my brother went to go and see it, and I had this emotional reaction to the movie, and ever since, like, it was, and I said it on my Facebook or what, it reminded me why I love movies. And at the time I was in college studying, you know, film and everything. And still every time I revisit this movie, it's just so incredible. It's this really fascinating story of you know, Roy Neary being drawn to something that he doesn't even understand. And there's a great bit of mystery to it of, you know, did this happen? And you have the French dude whose name is escaping me right now, who he's off trying to figure out this, and the Roy Neary. Yes. And this, and I might get slaughtered here, might be my favorite William Spielberg like collaboration. I just think the themes he creates are so interesting for Devil's Tower, and like that moment when Roy walks past the TV and sees Devil's Tower, and then you pull back and you see how he's created the model in his living room. It's also a very funny movie too. You know, like I love that moment when he's stealing the chicken wire from his neighbor and she like tries to grab it, and then like when Ronnie takes the kids or whatever, and he just like, kind of all the neighbors are looking at him, he just takes that trash can, throws it in the window, jumps in the window, and then shuts it behind him. But then, yeah, that final act is just the music, the shot, like, it's so beautiful. And yeah, and Melinda Dillon, I also just want to mention, is stellar in the movie as well. And her search for Barry is great. And this is also one of Carl Weathers' very early movies. He plays one of the army guys who tries to convince him, like, no, people are dying there. Let's put a mask on.
So was it a yes?
No, after all that, no. Yeah, no, it's a yes. I'm sorry, I thought I started with yes. My bad.
You didn't say yes, but yeah.
I'm pretty terrible at that on rank, up to where I go into my emotional stories and forget to give my yes vote before the emotional story. Sorry about that, folks.
No, it's all good. That's why I checked. Austin, what do you say about Close Encounters?
I'll say yes, so Malcolm can start typing, and then I'll go into the reasons why. But yes, I'll say yes to Close Encounters, because I'm due for a rewatch on it. I was going to go see it in the theater a couple months ago when they did just Regal just showed it, and I just didn't get a chance to. But I'm going to rewatch it again very soon. But yeah, it is excellent, and I think Dreyfuss, this is like one of his best performances outside of Jaws. I mean, I love him in Jaws, but he's really good. Yeah, always good to see Melinda Dillon in a good performance outside of Christmas Story, because I'm a big Christmas Story fan. So to see like a non-Christmas Story movie with Melinda Dillon is great. Some of the sequences, man, the railroad sequence is incredible. Man, the scene where the kid gets abducted is like a straight horror sequence. the way it's kind of played, which is why I always thought it would be fascinating if Spielberg made a straight up horror movie, which he really hasn't done, but he's made like horror adjacent sequences, throughout his career. I always thought it would have been cool to make like a straight up horror movie. I think he'd be really good at it. We'll never get it because he's going to make his Western, and that's probably going to be one of the last things he does.
Never say never.
Yeah, we'll see. But
what if it's a Western horror? Probably
That'd
not.
be cool. Give me another Bone Tomahawk or something. I'm down.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's going to make that. Great stuff all around. Again, the more, we could say the same thing about John Williams, what we said about all the other movies on this list. He's great. And good stuff. So I'll say yes. I'll say it's probably the movie I've seen the least out of all the ones that are going to make the list. So I don't know if it'll make it super high, but I'll still say yes.
And folks, if there's one thing you learn from this stream, it's that Austin loves himself a good Spielberg railroad scene.
I mean, he does good railroad sequences because the one in Disclosure Day is pretty good too. So
Disclosure Day. I was thinking, I was like, that's
Hey,
in recent
he
years
likes-
it's closest he's gone to like kind of horror.
He likes
moments.
trains. The train sequence at the beginning of Last Crusade's really good with River Phoenix. Like that's a good train sequence.
Fableman, another good train scene.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, there's good train stuff.
Talking about Fablemans, it probably has to do with seeing the greatest.
I think that
show.
comes from he talks about seeing the greatest show on earth with it, which had like the train sequence. So he's always been fascinated with like train stuff. It's one of his things. Yeah, so totally.
It's like trains and mommy and daddy issues are just guaranteed Spielberg things.
But that does close off the list for this episode. Well, I mean, the nomination process. Getting into some honorable mentions. For me, I'm one of the few people that really enjoy Ready Player One. I think it's fantastic, and really enough, it's not even because of the nostalgia. I really enjoy the story, the actual story. I saw it for the first time for this, but I think Lincoln is really good. And I think Spielberg did a good job for the remake of West Side Story. Look, it was mentioned earlier, but I actually do quite enjoy the BFG. Just because partly because I'm a big fan of the book it's based on, and I think it's a very faithful adaptation of that book. And the last one I would have brought up next anyway is Tintin, because I think Tintin is great, and I think and Peter Jackson has confirmed I think it was at one of the film festivals that he is working on writing that finally the sequel to Tintin after all these years too. But Matt, did you have any honorable mentions?
You're not alone in your love of Ready Player One. I really enjoy that movie. I really like Ben Mendelsohn in that movie. I like his fake corporate. I care about this stuff, even though I have no idea what this stuff is. That feels real. West Side Story is my favorite movie musical. I think it's spectacular. I love the story that and if you talking about Temple of Doom, you saw, like Spielberg always wanted to make a musical, and then he chooses to make one that's also a remake of one of the most famous movie musicals, and I think he blows the original out of the water. Like it's just like the original's great, but Spielberg's it's superior. And then Munich was the other one I had. I really love Munich, and I've been meaning to rewatch it, but it's a very, especially kind of, I guess, given current events, I think it'd be interesting to revisit, but it is kind of just like a unfortunately timeless kind of story of just things that go on between nations and the people who are kind of forced to do it and how they're forced to deal with it. That's why I love, Spielberg talks about the sort of last scene in the movie, how he made sure that the Twin Towers were in view, because he's kind of like, look, stuff it took place in the 70s, but things are so different now. But that's kind of everything else I brought up, or was discussed.
Austin, what are some honorable mentions that you had there?
I just had 3 on my list. I'm a Terminal apologist, so anybody that would have brought up Terminal, I think it's better than
Catherine Zeta-Jones.
I think people give, I think that movie got kind of weirdly maligned, and I think it's actually really solid. Minority Report is a really good, sci-fi action. He had another good double year with 2002 with Minority Report and Catch Me If You Can. So, and
the ET re-release, so technically 3.
Yeah. So he was on top of the world again in 2002. Minority Report's really solid. I'm also a huge fan, and I know not everybody is, of The Lost World. I love The Lost World. I think it's great.
Austin,
I think that movie has been
good sequence.
But it's excellent. I think there's some damn good action sequences in that movie. Again, John Williams' score, he tinges like some cool stuff in that movie, like all the performances. And Pete Postlethwaite is the man.
I was literally about to say Pete Postlethwaite. He's
is the best.
amazing.
And
Let's get this
Spielberg
movable
himself,
beast on the way.
and Spielberg himself has said he's one of the best actors he's ever worked with his entire career.
I think he said like
you know,
the day they wrapped shooting Lost
Yeah.
World, he hired him to be an Amistad. He was like,
Yeah.
"You're going to be an
This
Amistad."
dude is awesome. He's
Like,
one of
yeah.
the best actors ever. So yeah. I'm a big fan of Lost World. I would advocate for Lost World.
The San Diego sequence is so freaking good.
And what are some honorable mentions that you had there?
Amistad I had. I'm also gonna go with The Color Purple. I actually do. I'm actually a big defender of that one. And then those are really the only ones because like Lost World, I'm not a big fan of. Minority Report. Minority Report, I think is like I know it gets talked about, but I love Minority Report. So yeah, those are my 3 honorable mentions.
But with that, to recap what we've got on the shortlist for this list, we've got Raiders of the Lost Ark, we've got Jill, we've got Jaws, we've got Schindler's List, we've got Catch Me If You Can, we've got Jurassic Park, we've got The Last Crusade, we've got Hook, we've got War of the Worlds, we've got E.T., we've got Temple of Doom, and we've got Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Matt, which of these movies do you have at 12?
I have Duel.
Austin, what do you have at 12?
Just because it's the one I've kind of seen the least out of the ones, I'm actually going to go Close Encounters.
Ross, what do you have at 12?
I have War of the Worlds.
I also went Jill, but Jill was going to end up at 12.
Wow,
At least
Malcolm,
it's on
this is
the-
very rare for us that our first
on the
pick
list.
gets picked and we have to change our boards immediately.
I remember Matthew, during our Kurt Russell one, how you kept on you put close the thing last, and then it ended up winning the whole thing.
And again, as I say with these things, it doesn't mean I hate the movie. It just means the 11 above it I prefer, especially with Mr. Russell.
Yeah.
Like, great man.
But
Has he
Austin,
ever
what do
done
you
a
have?
He's never done a Spielberg movie,
Close
has he?
Encounters. Duel.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever done a Spielberg movie.
We got it.
Ross, what do
The
you have?
Western. It's perfect time. Let's do it.
Ross, what do you have at 11?
War of the Worlds.
I went Temple of Doom, Matt.
War of the Worlds.
I'm not too mad because at least they made the list.
Yeah, I was
I
gonna
never,
say.
I never thought Duel or War of the Worlds would actually make the list, so that's really a nice
I
surprise.
feel like I brought up War of the Worlds on the last one.
Did you? I don't know,
Yeah,
but
no,
you gotta have. That's another one you gotta have the right panel for, like if it's everybody's jam or
Well,
whatever.
that's honestly, and that's why I
Yeah.
like when we do Reduxes, because it is like, yeah, how different can it be?
Yeah. I don't know why I waste my board. But what do you have at 10?
Temple of Doom.
Matt.
Catch Me If You Can.
Austin.
Close Encounters.
And I skipped myself, but Temple of Doom.
I figured you were sticking with it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine. So once we get down to like the top 5 or 6, I think it's going to get really tricky. It might just be like personal preference. We'll see.
Yeah, it's rough.
Once again, very similar to when I did Jimmy Stewart. Very few short titled movies.
Yeah.
Right. You'll get there. Yeah, there's a few more. Yeah, there's a few.
Oh
more.
yeah, I mean, yeah.
I will say when we get to ET, if you just want to write ET, that's fine. You don't have to write ET the extra.
I mean, that's what I would have. Yeah.
It'd be funny gag lie. Could you put that old Disney ride called like E.T. the Extraterrestrial?
As long as you don't put Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark, 'cause that is not the title of the movie.
Yep.
No matter
I don't
how
care
many
what
times
you
they try to retitle
marketing
it.
people say.
Yeah.
It's called Raiders of the Lost
Raiders of the
Ark.
Lost
It's what it's
Ark.
called the Raiders March.
Yeah.
Fun story. It's supposed to be the Raiders series, but that's a story for another time.
But for 9, I've got Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Matt.
Get it if you can.
Austin.
Close Encounters.
And Ross.
Close Encounters.
again, like Austin said, it made the list, so I can't.
These are on the list, and we truly have a Redux list because it's like what, maybe 4 or 5 crossovers from last time or something like that, or 6.
And the crossovers are like, well, I mean, yeah,
your standards,
like
your standards, and then we truly have like a favorites list this time, so that's interesting.
Yeah. But Matt, what do you have at 8?
Catch Me If You Can.
Austin.
Catch Me If You Can.
Ross.
Catch Me If You Can.
Just ET, but Catch Me If You Can is going to be at 8.
So we Raiders, Jaws,
We have Raiders, Jaws, Schindler,
Jurassic
Jurassic Park, Last Crusade, Hook, and ET.
But Austin, what do you have at 7?
This might be controversial, but ET.
Ross.
E.T.
Didn't think that controversial. ET. Matt.
Last Crusade. All right, now the tuxedos kind of seem fucked up.
Raiders, Jaws, Schindler, Jurassic Park, Last Crusade.
But Ross, what do you have at 6?
Raiders.
You may have thought ET was controversial. This might be just as controversial. Jaws. Matt.
Last Crusade.
And Austin.
I might have to go to the comments. Hook.
So we've got 4-way tie. We've got Hook, Jaws, which I think is a movie on its own. Last Crusade and Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Leo says Hook.
Yep, it is going to be Hook.
All right.
I mean, you can't be too mad. I made the list this time.
Oh yeah. No.
Damn.
Yeah.
Wait. Let's just make Jaws number 5. Just that way, it could be E.T. Hook's Jaws.
Yeah, somehow I don't like. Even if people would get on board with that, I don't think Austin will.
No. I get it. I just say for
I
the
think it's
humor
cool.
of it.
Matt, what do you have at 5?
Last Crusade.
Austin.
Just so Jaws doesn't make it out of the top 5, Last Crusade. This is strategic. Strategic more than anything. Yeah.
Ross.
Last Crusade.
All right, there you go. Okay, now this is like a top 5 where it's like it's a crapshoot, man. It's like these are kind of like the staples,
Raiders, Jaws, Schindler's List, Jurassic Park. Oh, God. This is rough.
Okay. Yeah, see, these are like the 4 heavy hitters, so this might just be like personal preference, you know what I mean? So
if you're watching this, please keep watching because we may have to go to you in the chat again. We don't want to have a stupid wheel.
This is going to be, I mean, like, I personally think before we vote, any one of these 4 could be like number 1, and I don't think there would be like that much like. I can't really argue against it,
Yeah, no, it's just like at this point, it's just like personal.
It's
preference
personal preference. So
the order of these.
Yeah,
I mean, we usually always have Leo or Brian in the chat anyway. So
we appreciate that.
We appreciate
or my alt account. No, I'm kidding. I don't do that.
But Ross, what do you have for number 4?
Raiders.
I'm going Jaws. Matt.
I'm going Schindler's List.
And Austin.
Schindler's List.
All right, so now it's Raiders, Jurassic Park.
Jaws, Jurassic Park. Holy shit!
That's a top 3 right there, though.
Yeah, that's a
good
top 3.
3.
All right, let's see. All right. You know what? In like 3 movies, I've watched about 8 billion times, like even since they were on video. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
same here. Like,
it's
especially
like
like now during the summer, this is just like
This is the
Saturday
classic
night picks.
Malcolm. This is the conundrum, like on tournament fights. So
Yeah.
this is the classic conundrum. All right, here we go.
Sticking with draws, Matt,
Jaws.
No.
Austin,
Raiders.
and Ross.
Raiders.
Ooh,
So chat Raiders or draws at 3.
3. Oh,
Basically, do you want the Nazis to win? Oh, I guess we want them to win. All right.
God. All right.
Then I guess.
All right. So Jaws and Jurassic Park. Holy cow!
It's almost-
His two like animal attack.
Animal
movies.
attack movies. Yeah, I was gonna say it seems almost.
How's that one
fitting
called
that they
Roar?
should-
Is it good?
Roar is one of the nuttiest movies ever made. I have it on Blu-ray. Yes. If you want to see people getting attacked by lions, watch Roar. It's on screen.
Or watch
And just in ca-
Carnosaurus if you want to see
and-
dinosaurs like tearing people's limbs off.
And just in case people have forgotten,
Voting on number
we
1.
voted number 1.
And this is one where it's like
Unless your number 2 is
I-
another panelist number 1, then you're voting
Yeah.
number 2.
these. So just to clarify, both of these movies in my top 10 movies of all time that coming up, Jurassic Park and Jaws. So either one that makes it is what
They're
it is.
both in my top 20.
Yeah, top 10. All right. Yeah.
But
I don't know.
Matt,
everybody
what
said
do you
that
have
was
at number
so
1?
The one that's in my number 5 favorite film of all time, Jurassic Park.
Austin.
The one that's at my number 5 favorite film of all time, Jaws. But Jurassic Park is like number 10. It's like in the top 10. It's right there.
I love Jaws.
Yeah. It's like
I was Chief Brody for Halloween last year.
right. That's
I love it.
Why don't you dress up as a Phantom, Austin? Dress up as a Phantom. one year.
no, I'm not ripped enough for that. Anyways, Ross, what do you got?
Yeah.
Okay, my number
Oh, it
one
does.
is the reason why we have Spielberg, and that's Jaws.
And my number 1 is Jurassic Park.
Oh no!
All right.
Another time, of course.
Another one of those great rankups where the chat
Of course.
decides number 1. Don't you love it?
Yeah.
Oh,
And-
there you go.
All
Fletcher,
right.
thank you, Shepard.
yeah,
Leo
you
also
both
said
say
it,
Jaws.
so-
I mean, yeah, it would have been like. But I'm not. Yeah, really enough. I'm not. Yeah, I think that was just Steven saying that.
right.
Jaws is his number.
I'm not.
I mean,
I'm not
if Jurassic
upset.
Park had made it, I would have been
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's fine.
Again,
I love Jurassic Park.
I love
It's amazing.
Jaws.
Yeah,
So
me too.
I'm not
Incredible.
upset by this. This is
Yeah,
this is
of
one of
course.
those times. Sometimes when my number
so
one
what?
doesn't make it a number 1, I am upset. But
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is not one of
Jaws.
those
Oh
times.
yeah, but
Because
it's
Raiders
Jaws
is my
in
number
3D
2
though.
favorite film of all
Yeah.
time. So
Jaws in 3D is amazing. The eye line of the water
Jaws
is in
3D. Yeah, it is amazing.
No,
That's
I'm
great,
saying
man.
Jaws
What a
in 3D.
Man,
Yeah. And
I actually like
Um,
Jaws 3.
and,
Second look episode coming.
yeah, no, I was about to say like and Stephen popping up. He was he was on the original list.
Was he now? Yeah. Oh, so he's probably getting back at me. He's like, "Fucking Matt got Raiders to number 1 last time."
But just to recap, I'm going to throw this one up again just to see how much it's changed. So the original list, so we had West Side Story at 12, Tintin at 11, Munich at 10, E.T. at 9, Minority Report at 8, Saving Private Ryan at 7, Close Encounters at 6, Last Crusade at 5, Schindler's List at 4, Jurassic Park at 3, Jaws at 2.
We
and
have the same
three.
top 5. No, it's the same top 5.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
Malcolm,
Yeah.
I guess Munich's your favorite there because you really wanted to focus on that poster.
I think that might there's been I did
yeah,
this
you were
week
probably
on the-
highlighting it when you screenshot.
Well,
yeah.
no, I think I was on the Take 3 page at the time. So whatever things that
okay.
people that I've either I've labeled as watched on the Take 3 letterbox account. So yeah, but the top 12 on this list, we've got Jewel at number 12. We've got War of the Worlds at 11. We've got Indiana Jones at the Temple of Doom. We've got Close Encounters at 9. Catch Me If You Can at 8. E.T. at 7. Hook at 6. And then number 5 it was Last Crusade. Schindler's List at 4. Raiders of the Lost Ark was 3. Jurassic Park was 2, and number 1 was Jaws. So basically, the only
It's the
difference
same
was-
top 5, just the order was.
Well,
the
I mean,
3 were different. The
Yeah,
top
Yeah,
3
the
was
only thing
different.
that different was Raiders dropped a couple of spots.
Yeah.
Um,
Crazy times, crazy times.
but with that, that is the end of ranking for this week. next week it's going to be a nice, fun topic for a change because it's going to be a good what if topic because it's like and it's going to be top 12 voice acting performances that should have been nominated for an Oscar.
So it's not Tim Allen.
I mean, he could come up on the list. So it's going to be a fun topic. And weirdly enough, this is not something Tom Hanks said about voice acting performances, like the fact he doesn't believe they should have their own category. They should end up in those categories on their own. But Matt, where can people find you online?
You guys, as we plugged earlier, can find me at Kearns_Matthew on Twitter. You can also find me on YouTube in 2 places. One of them being Matt Movies 611. You can find me there on Letterboxd if you want to read my thoughts on things like Disclosure Day. You can also find me here. I am the co-host of Simple Tricks and Nonsense. The next episode is going to be our 50th episode, and who knows what kind of wackiness is going to happen with me and Dave finally decide to get on there. You can also find me as the host of Second Look. The next episode is in the works. It's on Jaws 3. It should be a good time. And there's also going to be a new show that is coming out called Malcolm Explains to Matt why Dial of Destiny isn't his 5th place to Dan Jones movie. It's going to be interesting. I'm assuming it's going to be a multi-parter. Booze will probably be involved from my end, but it's always a great time when I get me on Rankum, talking all the things I love, and once again, all your hate mail. That's Kearns_Matthew, KEARNS _ and the Matthew. You just follow me, DM me. I won't read it, but thank you for the traction to my page. Appreciate it.
But Austin, we can be find you online.
Douglas Rain for 2001 is Hal 9000 for next week. Just throwing that out there to anybody that's on that panel. All right. Anyways, you can mostly find me over on the Movie Hero Network, where I co-host or host a whole bunch of shows over there. We'll be getting into our ladder series, getting back to that, which is always fun. 1981 and 1980 movies coming up this week. We'll be recasting Raiders of the Lost Ark, not this Monday, but next Monday. So we'll be doing our series on recast, which is always
Powers Indy.
Oh my God, that's what it's a running joke on here about how many on recast. Malcolm knows about how many times Glenn Powell has been recasted as people on recast.
Sorry, he's a good actor who fits a lot of stuff.
I know. We'll talk about it. We'll see if anybody pulls the trigger when we get that going. But but recast is one of the shows we do. We do a show called Wheel of Movies, where we do a deep dive on stuff every 2 weeks, me and Richie, and all kinds of stuff. And then if you want to hear me talk some wrestling, the Lonely March Wrestling Podcast, where you can hear us every week on Thursday nights. So thanks for having me, Malcolm. Appreciate it.
And what's we can do for you online?
Just find me on Whatnot, on Pathways, and then I'll be doing some reviews. When they get back from their vacation of new movies. Because got lots about Disclosure Day and Toy Story 5 and Backrooms.
You can find me on Tape Productions as well as Rankin every week. We'll be back next week for Top 12 Voice Actors that should be nominated for an Oscar. You can also find me hosting Spear from the Past on my own personal YouTube channel. And this week I have JPO on to talk about Ring of Honor pay-per-view Wrath of the Racket, which is a lot of fun. And you can also
Malcolm, I have to say, I don't know anything about wrestling, but that show of yours, that intro, man, gets me interested to watch wrestling every time.
And you can also find me on the Movie Hero Network, and I'll be on there all this week with the letter series, and we'll be talking about the years of 1981, which does involve Raiders of the Lost Ark. And 1980. So it should be interesting to see what sort of comes out on top there, and what mechanisms the randomizer does when it puts the movies up against each other, because there's some hard matchups a lot of the times. And yeah, but that is the end of ranking for this week. We'll see you all next week.